Oh. Hello there fellow modelers, Steve here, and tonight's video is a rundown of various kits that I've got on the go, a few group builds I've got going, my own group build, because I haven't made a video for about, must be about 3 weeks now I think. Been a bit busy and I haven't had time to make any videos, but I've got one in now and I've got a completed kit. And we'll start off with that first. And I'm on my legs here now. And it's this one, which is the Airfix 1/48 scales Supermarine Seafire FR47. And it's all completed now. The reason the bloke with the pilot is sitting on the wing is the instructions. The pilot went in before you put the fuselage together, and I thought, oh well, I'll just leave it off, it'll not fit. But when I got the fuselage together and everything was on and decided to put the pilot in, it wouldn't fit. So I've just left him on the wing there. Now what I've did with this is I've had the wings folded. These fell off. I'll pull them on the floor somewhere. But it didn't have any clips on the wing folds, which is, I'll zoom in a bit. So what I've did is I've just super glued them, and I had a bit of Tamiya tape. This is going to be shaky as hell, this. Tamiya tape on, taped from the fuselage there to the wing to keep them steady, because I took that to my model club. But I'm in the process of making some clips so I can have the wings fully folded, and I'll put it up when I get it done. But it's done now, so I'll put it to one side for the moment. But it was a nice kit to build, and there's plenty of detail in the cockpit there. Used the airbrush on this, which is coming along. There's a bit touching up there with the paint, because the markings were the invasion stripes. The see-through straight away. I think I picked it up at a model show I went to at Glasgow the other week. It's a 1/48 scale Armstrong Whitworth Seahawk, and it has the invasion stripes for the Suez campaign, the black and yellow mustard colour. I'm going to paint them on. I'm not going to bother with the markings, because if they're the same as this, it'll spoil it. The missiles are on. Missiles, air-to-air rockets, really. And it has the 2 cannon on each side, a fuel tank there, and this is in the markings of number 800 Squadron, Naval Air Squadron, which operated from HMS Triumph at the beginning of the Korean War around 1950, but they didn't last long on operations, the Seafires, because they were replaced by the Sea Fury. But it's roughly compatible to the RAF's Mark 22, Mark 24 Spitfires, and it was the ultimate variant in the long line that started in 1936, which I think was the test flight of the Spitfire. But I've finished that, so I'll put that to one side. Now, group builds, what I've got going is one for the Creator, a Luftwaffe group build which actually ended in September. And I'm doing a, what is it? It's one of them drone board ones, a Focke-Wulf TA 183 Hickebine or Huckebine experimental jet fighter, very similar to the MiG-15, as I've explained before. Now I've got all the underside paint is done, but it's obviously covered up, and I did the It's a different colour on here. This has got brown violet, but it's green on here, so I'm just going by the colour chart. I did that the other day. Marked out the camouflage on the wings, and I've got to put that on. And after that, the markings will be going on with a coat of, before you put them on, a coat of varnish. Now I got some of this, which is quite good. I haven't used it yet. The Paint Factory. But it's quite cheap, and there's one where you can get three in a pack. So I've tried it out on something, a roughly bit of plastic, and it works. So I'll try it on that first. And it's a lot cheaper than the Humbrol one. I haven't tried the clear stuff yet, which is that. The Pledge, which I picked up at Morrison's. I haven't tried that yet. But this is a good kit to build, and I'm hoping to get it finished on at the weekend, so I can take it to my model club next week. Put that over there. Now the next one I've got on is, this is the Battle of Britain group build for, well, it's Charlie and Ian, UK Scale Modeler and Charlie Scale Modelings. Now this ended, I think, when the Battle of Britain ended, the 10th of October, but there's a lot of people that still haven't finished theirs yet, including Ian and Charlie themselves. But I've got the underside colour is on, which is blue, and that's the green overall, but I've marked it off where it's marked, that'll stop green, and it's a dark, it's a black green, I think. Yeah, black green. I've got to do that. I was finishing off marking that tonight. It takes ages to mark off. But it's been a great kit to build this. It's one of the new tool ones. And I actually got a stencil set from Edward for the glazing, because it would have took me ages to cut all that in Tamiya tape. I've used them a lot, but I used it on the Seafire, and it's quite good, very good. I recommend it. So I'll put that to one side. Now what else have I got? The MiG-29 for Frankie Day's Cold War group build. And this has come along. This is a basic, very basic kit. Everything's done on the underneath. Bit of filler there. I've just stuck that bit of canopy on there. The only problem with this is you've got to be very careful, because where the seat is and the control column and panel, it's very faint. If you press that on there, it just comes off and it rustles about. It's not very, I should have put super glue in when I glued it together, but you learn these mistakes anyway. And hopefully it won't need a weight in the nose, and it'll sit on its nose. And this went together along the line there, which is a lot better. I've just seen Chance of North Wales, hi there Lynn, he's just did a Sukhoi Su-27, and that looks magnificent. That I built one of them years ago, it's over there somewhere. I've did it on a me blast from the past videos, but this is compatible. They come out at the same time, late 80s. Very capable fighter. I think it's been withdrawn from service now, but that's coming along fine. Right, what else? The Battle of Waterloo 200th anniversary for Russell Goslin. It's a community build. Now I'm doing a 95th Rifleman, but it's in the disguise of Richard Sharp from the Sharp novels and teleseries. I haven't got his head on yet, but I managed to paint the, it's a bit blurred that, the detail around the buttons. Anyhow, we're going to put them on a small little diorama hopefully it'll be alright. I'm consulting loads of photos that I've got off the internet of Sharp himself to try and get it right. But the good these kits, I built one, a Polish Lancer years ago, and I've got I think it's a British Hussar, which is very colourful, but that's coming, and I should get that finished by the end of the year. What else? Ah, my own group build, the Dakota group build. This is coming along. That's the cargo floor, the bulkheads, control columns and the seats are all done, and I used my airbrush spray on that, the interior green. It's turned out very well. And there's the sink and the toilet, which is right at the back, very basic. This is the inside of it. This was done with my airbrush as well. There's the other side. It's a pity you do all this detail and it all gets covered up. And what I've got here with the control columns, painted it, the dials with silver and black. I've got to put a bit of red on. There. And I think that's it, just bits and bobs hanging about. There's the wheels to be done. And that's coming along fine. And who I've got, who's actually in this group build, is I've got Frankie Deer on, and he's doing well, he was going to do an Airfix Danair 1/72 scale, one of the new tooling, but he's decided to put that to one side, and he's looked around in his stash and found this ancient Airfix kit, which is I think it's in the markings of the United States Army Air Force, so he's going to do that. And I've got make and models 81, which is shown. I'll check all these out tonight to see how far they are. And he's doing a Revell 1/72 scale in Lufthansa markings, something different. And I've got Dave Pugh, and he's doing an Italeri 1/72 scale. And I sent him a message that says, what version are you going to do? And he said, since I was raised in the US Navy, it's obvious. So he's doing it in like an R4D, that was it. And I've got Wayne Ridges, I don't know which one he's doing. And Warren Blanche, he's doing an Italeri 1/72 scale, because he's just finished his Mosquito, which is excellent. Like the Invasion Stripes as well. A Photo Reconnaissance Blue, I think it is. So them's the ones that I know of so far. So that's that. Now I'll go and get the acquisitions that I've bought, which is quite a bit. Right, this is thing that I got this off eBay, which is an Italeri Cant Z506. I can't pronounce that. An Italian seaplane, and this has got loads of detail in it, and I think it's fairly recent as well. can't remember when it was printed. I'll have to have a look. But it's got loads of detail in it. It's got a bit of photo edge as well. In 6 versions. And I got that off eBay. And that's good, that. And this one, which I got out of one of the local department stores, Dogfight Doubles. These are both new tooling. It's the Nakajima B5N2 Kate and the Grumman F4F4 Wildcat. The Dogfight Doubles in the period of the Battle of Midway. This was a bargain, this at, was it 20 quid? Considering the kits itself cost about 15 each. So it's a bargain, that. Now, I went to Glasgow, it was a couple of weeks ago, for the model show that was held up there. And I bought a canny bit there as well. I picked up this, which is a 1/48th scale Trumpeter Seahawk FGA Mark 6. That was the one I was on about with the invasion stripes. Now, I've made an Airfix one, but this is a bigger one, and this has got some photo edge, a bit more detail. But when I do it, I'm going to spray them on, band the decals all together. And this is quite a good kit, this. Very good. I can't remember how much I paid for it. And this, I built one of these years ago. It's a Frog Vultee Vengeance and Allied dive bomber. It was mainly used in the Far East. So I'll make that. There's a Royal Air Force One or an Australian Air Force One. There's an aeroplane that's mostly been overlooked. I don't think the Allies really used dive bombers, not like the Japanese and the Germans did. And here's another one that I made years ago. No, it's actually a couple of years ago. A Douglas Boston. Now, I made this when I first started doing the modelling again, and it's painted with the hand brush, and it looks terrible. So I seen this, and it was a bargain for 6 quid. So I thought, I'll have that, I'll try it with the airbrush. And I bought some at the same show. Some Australian Air Force and United States Army Air Force Markins. I think that's a French Air Force. No, it's not, it's a Royal Air Force. So I fancy doing the Australian one. And that was a bargain at, I think it was 3 quid. I was hunting around the stalls and I've seen this, which is a Hughes 500 Defender. Now I've got one of them, and I made it in the markings of TC's helicopter from Magnum, but of course it was made years ago and it was done with the paintbrush. But I'll try this with the airbrush. I just seen it and I explained to the guy, and we had a bit of a chat on, and he says, oh yes, and he was intrigued that it was in Kenya Air Force or Kenya Army markings, not a very thing that you would see. And I says, go on, I'll take it. And that was a bargain for, and that was 14 quid, which was a bargain for the price of the kit. You can get it now. And while I was looking through, I seen this, which is a 170 scale F8D Corsair, but it didn't have any markings in, and he's priced it at 3 quid. And I was looking, and he says, you're intrigued to buy, and I says, I've got one of them. He says, well, it's got no markings in, but it's 3 quid just to get rid of it. And I says, go on, I'll have that. And I found some markings off the other one that I built, I think it was a couple of years ago. So that'll be another one to go with in my carrier collection. And another one I got just out of, on the off chance, which is a Boeing F4B4, a carrier-based biplane from Monogram, which is probably an ancient kit. And this was 8, but I got them down to 6. I remember building a Matchbox one of them, the Air Force version, or the Army Air Corps version, the Boeing P-12E. And something else I picked up, another bargain, I knocked them down to 8 from 12, an Airfix MG Mark III Magnet, because I love them old sports cars. And I'm going to see if I can get an RAF figure, classic RAF, classic car for the RAF fighter pilots, the sports cars. It's a great car, and it's very well detailed, wire wheels as well. You actually get a figure with this, but it's just a civilian with a, well, in my part of the world we call them meggies, but they're like flat caps, mainly what old blokes wear. So that's what I got there. And the next one is next week, which is Telford. Now I'll be down there for the 2 days for it. I'll be down there with my model club, so anybody that meets, anybody that's down there, I know Chris and Alex is going because they've just come back on the modelling. Hi there Chris and Alex, good to see you back. I'll probably meet up with them knocking about, so hopefully I'll see anybody that's there and have a bit of a natter about what we've been doing over the years since we were last there. It was a good time last year, but I was only there for a day and it was a bit of a rush, but I thought I'll take the weekend off and I'm stopping there for 3 nights, so that'll be good. And I'm down with the model club this time, so that'll be good there, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's next week. Right, so that's it for me video. I've got a rundown of kits, and here's some others that I've got going just on the side. This is the Douglas Devastator, the Airfix. This is a side kit, just as when I'm doing nothing really. And the Airfix F105, I think it's a Thunder Chief, the 3rd, and that's coming along. This will be good when it's finished, especially with the Vietnam era camouflage in. I think I've got a few bits of small bits to put on there, and then that'll be ready for priming. And it carries a lot of ordnance. So that's just what I've been doing at the moment. Right, so happy modelling, and I'll see you on the next video, and I'll look out for everybody at Telford. So I'll see you later. Ta-ra now.